yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Your Honor, please, gotta believe what I say. What I will tell happened just the other.
When I worked out on the reservation, I worked out in cells. Angelo Joaquin Jr., he gave me a sage smudge stick that was like sage that was like harvested from Native Americans, not just the, you know, the sage that. Anyway, every once in a while I remember to do that to, you know, purify my house.
I told him, I said, make sure you put plenty of it on us because we really need it. We need it cleansing. Bad spirits go away.
I think there might be more people filling out forms. They'll just bring them up to me. Okay, should I start now or should I wait till a few more people get here? Okay, 30 seconds. Great, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay. And what is it? Click on meetings, just try it again. And then go over to the top one. And then click on this. Oh. I guess that works too.
Recording in progress.
Calling this meeting to order. Thank you for all being here. That was a lovely smudging ceremony, blessing outside, Miguel Flores. And I just liked his words about community. That's what we are here at Pima Community College, a big community of people who care about each other and care about our students and our employees. So thank you for being here. Will you please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Luis Gonzalez.
Here.
Greg Taylor.
Here.
Maria Garcia. Present. Dr. Wade McLean.
Here.
And Therese Riel here. We're moving on to public call of the audience. And our first speaker is Michaela Hayes.
Good evening, board members, chancellor, colleagues, and guests. My name is Michaela Hayes, math faculty, associate instructional designer, PCA president, and AERC co-chair. I appreciate our interim chancellor's expressed goal to enhance a culture of caring. There are a few things that I believe we can do as an institution to ensure that this culture of caring is impactful to employees. One crucial way to ensure people feel cared for is to value stakeholder input. It's key to ensure strong systems exist to give employees voice in our institution. PCCEA believes that key changes to BP 1.25 are important in creating such a system. And also because of the work on updating APs and BPs for the HLC, there are many policies coming your way through information and consent agenda items. I would ask that you keep an eye on who was involved in the conversation, and is there some sort of sign-off from the stakeholders that changes have their support. And while it's important to update our APs and BPs, let's ensure that the timeline isn't a reason not to collaborate. PCCEA has identified a few priorities to work on through the AERC this year. First, faculty and staff need fair, equitable, and transparent salary administration policies posted to the employee handbook. While neither group has an updated policy yet, there are many staff still unsure how they were placed within their band or how they'll move up. So we would like to ensure that this process, which has been in place for over a year now, gains clarity and allows people to have more confidence in their pay structure. Another priority is to finish key projects started last year. Last budget cycle, money was set aside for salary adjustments to some faculty that were not fully addressed during the class and comp study. Faculty in hard-to-hire areas, and those who have valuable training and experience that are not graduate credit hours. Conversations are still ongoing, so those faculty have not received those adjustments yet. A lot of good work was accomplished on the overall faculty salary schedule last year, and these groups of faculty need to be a priority this year. PCCEA is also invested in ensuring that the faculty leadership model redesign is effective in supporting faculty and faculty leaders in their workload and compensation. The hope is to be finished this semester, allowing for recruitment in the spring. These key projects both have the potential for budgetary implications, but also the potential to demonstrate a tangible culture of caring. Lastly, complaint and grievance processes through the Office of Dispute Resolution remained a high priority for PCCEA. This was an area marked as concerned by the HLC, and while some work was done on procedure, ODR processes are still unclear to the employees who are reaching out to me for help. I would ask administration to bring in stakeholders to take a deep look at our complaint structure and redesign the system to provide more transparency, tighter timelines, and better clarity on roles and procedures. We need a clear and trusted system that allows people involved in any role to know what's expected of them and what's expected of the college. Thank you for your passion for PCC, and I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish this coming year.
Thank you, Michaela. Next up is Ken Scoville.
Good evening, Board President Real and other members of the board. I'm here tonight to sort of thank you and encourage you, and I wanted to read an email that I sent to Board President Real in August, and essentially I was concerned no matter what you finally decide to do with the 3 historic motels, that there's some first major concerns. And having been involved in historic preservation now for almost 40 years, anytime buildings are vacant, there's always a concern about arson. And then I suggested that maybe increase the patrols, maybe have the police go by a little bit more, even possibly considering taking the slats out of the fence so when people drove by they could see the buildings, and then just clean up the site, get it a little better appearing, because it's still the marketability and the value of your properties. And then the second thing is, and I just mentioned when I was involved with the preservation of Ghost Ranch Lodge, we had 1 fire on the property, and we got really worried about that. So, and this just happens with historic buildings all across the country, always prone to an arson situation. There's been a lot of funding become available through the State of Arizona's Historic Preservation Department and Heritage Funds for a lot of matching grants and money. So however you decide to proceed, you can already have a certain amount of funding, and once you have that in place, it's a lot easier to get more money. And then the other thing is that I'm certainly, and if you choose to have a committee, I'm ready to go to work next month. I've talked to Herb Stratford, and he goes around the country consulting on historic preservation issues and also historic theaters, and he's in the process of restoring Teatro Carmen for Pima County, and so he's happy to consult, and so I think given that the city got the $50 million grant for the Thrive in 05, that's very significant for the area. And also the Tucson House is an historic property. You may not think of that at first, but it's a historic property. And when it originally opened, it was an upscale, first real high-rise, mid-rise, high-rise for Tucson. So I even have some pictures when they had Porsches parked in the parking lot. That's been a long time since that happened. But anyway, I'm here to help, do anything I can to come to a positive conclusion. I wanted to stay for your actual agenda item. I don't know if my schedule is going to allow it, but thank you again very much.
Thank you. Next up is Francesca Hernandez.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Chancellor. colleagues and members of the community. My name is Francisca James Hernandez. I'm faculty, 25 years here at Pima, and department head for 7. And I wanted to come and share with you one of the most rewarding things I feel like I did during my summer vacation. And that was to facilitate a book discussion through the Teaching and Learning Center around the book entitled Transforming Hispanic Serving Institutions by Dr. Gina Garcia. I was so impressed by this text that I have been waiting all summer to come and talk to you about it. The experience of leading the group, the book discussion group itself, was extremely valuable. I had a great set of colleagues, about 8 others, that we just were able to read and discuss this text together and what it meant for us as an institution. And it was extremely stimulating because the text itself is, I think, one of the most important reads that we as a village, as Mr. Flores talked of us, that we as a community can do together. And so I'm here to encourage and to ask you to make a commitment to read this text. And I am here to help in any way, if there's any way that I can be of help, if I can help facilitate a group discussion, a book club discussion, I'm happy to do that. But most importantly, I think it's vital for as many, really, personally, I think it's vital, required reading for all staff, administrators, and board members. So please take a look at this text. It's very well written, really easy to read, and packed with really practical things that we can do as an institution to serve our community in a way in which we're truly Hispanic serving and not simply Hispanic enrolling. Thank you.
Thank you, Francisca. I won't mess up your name next time. Sorry about that. Next up, Richard Hernandez.
Hello, Pima College family. I'm here to share the loss of my best friend, Coach Jim Milkey. If you've read any article recently or seen it on television, they call him the legendary coach. He coached for over 50 years, and he shared with me that he probably had contact with over 100,000 students in the span of 50 years. When he first came to Pima College in 75 and 76, somewhere in that era, I was a mere 18 or 19 at the time. Pima College would not hire a single faculty member unless they had military background. The good thing was he did, and he joined the Pima College family. Today, I want you to know a little bit about that man who transformed Pima College. In 1977, I was in New York with him and our first ever national team that was recognized. All of a sudden, people asked, who is Pima? Where are they? Where did they come from? The announcer, his name was Bucket, used to say Pima College. And Coach said, let me give you a little education. It's Pima College. And so it's interesting when you look at the history of Pima. In 1980, fast forward, now we're in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I was present again. We had the first national championship team in any sport at Pima. 5 indigenous students, local Yaqui, local Tio, but we had an Apache, we had a Navajo, we had a Hopi. We had one Hispanic kid from Bisbee, his name was Manny, and we had one Anglo kid from Choya High School, Tommy. And that was the first team, truly a team from Arizona all around. Coach embodied that. He believed in Pima College. One of the things that happened that people don't know that I want you to know is first he took a $7,000 cut to go from Sunnyside schools to Pima College. Secondly, in his time here, he was offered the head job at UCLA twice. It came with a compensation, a car, all those wonderful things, right? But he said no. Local kids, especially Hispanic kids, needed me more than rich kids at UCLA. That's who Coach was. I want to invite the family here. I've already done this at Sunnyside, the Sunnyside family, especially board members. The 12th of November, 5:30 p.m. at our West Campus in the Arts Building, we're going to have a ceremony of his life. I've spoken to students as far back to the 60s. I suspect we'll have many years and many sharing of how important Pima is. And I hope this board understands that it was Pima College, no matter where they progressed after they left us, that was the nucleus that brought all these good people together. And that's what his word would be to you, is you need to continue that. So this is the home for anybody who wants to have an opportunity to grow. Whether you become a national champion, who cares? Whether you end up with a doctorate or a master's degree or an undergraduate, or let's just say some kind of technical certificate. The important thing is you grow here. This is your home. I hope to see you there. You can visit with so many students who will reaffirm why you sit on that board. It's all about family. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And our last speaker is Marcy Euler.
Good evening, Chair Rial, Chancellor Duran Cerda, college colleagues, students, and friends. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about some exciting updates that we have from Pima Foundation. We are the philanthropic partner to the college, and we support the students and the faculty and the programs that are important to the institution and to the community. So a couple of highlights from last year. In fiscal year 2023, the foundation raised approximately $3.5 million in contributions for gifts and in-kind and revenue from special events that we partner with different departments on. In 1918, when I arrived and took over as president of the foundation, we were managing approximately $7 million in assets, and as of August 31st this year, we have approximately $14 million that we are managing. We are doing that at the same time that we're spending about $3 million a year in scholarships and programs and other support for different things that are important to making sure that Pima is front and center in the community. So to where we are now. As of Tuesday, I have 9 people on my team, and we were recently featured in Tucson Lifestyle, but there were only 7 of us then. So we have 9 people on our team. We most recently added an in-house accountant and a transformational gift officer who was our assistant director of philanthropy. So we are ready to rock and roll. We've already been doing some of that, but we're going to do more. One thing I wanted to point out, and for those of you who are sitting on the podium, you all received one of these little flyers for the Tucson Classics Car Show. We have more that are in the back, and there's actually some A-frames out front that talk about the car show. The car show is held on October 21st. It is the Rotary Club of Tucson is the sponsor. Pima is one of the beneficiaries through the foundation for the Center of Opportunity project that is taking care of helping upskill and reskill people who were formerly homeless folks, and making sure that they can not just have a job when they get out, but that they can have a job that provides for a thrivable living wage, so they can keep a roof over their head, food on the table, be safe in their environment. And so we are super proud of that. And all of the tickets that are sold through this QR code and on our website, we receive $4 worth of the proceeds. Plus, we will get proceeds at the end of the show when all is paid for the next 3 years. So please help us promote that. I also have hard copy tickets with me if anybody wants to buy them. I'm happy to help with that. The other thing that we are doing is Pima Day at the Diamondbacks, which will support the Pima Athletics Fund. We are working with soccer championships in November, the Sports Hall of Fame in December. All of those will be on our website at pimafoundation.org. And we are also planning industry-focused luncheons, and our first being with Pima Arts later this fall. We are very privileged, my team and I, to be able to forge partnerships within the college, within the community, and we look forward to continuing to serve all of you in this role. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy, and everybody up here on the board and at the college really appreciates everything you do and your team for us, so thank you. Okay, moving on to board member remarks. Mr. Gonzalez, would you like to go first?
No. I just want to thank everybody that's here in the audience, but also out there in the at home watching this meeting as well too. What I just want to say is it was as mentioned earlier, we had a blessing not only for the staff, but also for the college, but more important for the community. I'm a firm believer in the power of faith, and I have a very strong faith that we're going to be doing a lot better this year, this academic year, for all students as well too, and for our teachers and instructors who are going to be out there helping us. What I just want to say is that the blessing that was we received by Mr. Flores, it was truly a blessing, but more important, it was something that was within the air. As we all saw earlier, we had rain. That's also a blessing too. But more important, what we want to do in reference to what transpired a while ago is come together as a community, as la comunidad, that we all need to do. And without the teachers and the instructors and everybody out there, we cannot make those changes, but more important, recruit those young people from K-12, but also with the older people that are out there. They need the help, they want the help, but would like to join us with Pima College and the family, as mentioned before. With those two words, I really thank you all for coming and be attentive with all of us here, and that's my 1-2 words that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Greg Taylor?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very lots of appreciation to Mr. Flores about the blessing we participated in before this. It was an honor to participate in that, and I hope it brings everyone a wonderful beginning of this academic year. The only other thing I had on my mind was just to congratulate the college. I think it was 2 weeks ago that Forbes named Pima Community College as the best university or college employer in Arizona and the 11th best employer across the state, across all sectors. So that's a wonderful honor, and certainly a credit to Interim Chancellor Duran Cerda, to former Chancellor Lambert, to our administrators and leadership across the college who have been working diligently and continue to work diligently to improve and continue to empower our faculty and staff to serve students and transform their lives. And so I was really excited to see that when it came across my desk. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. Maria Garcia.
Well, welcome everyone. I only have one thing to say, and that is that thank you to the team, Sandy Beltre and Wendy Weeks, who did a fantastic job in responding to the HLC. So if you haven't seen that response, please look at it. I am so very proud of the work that you have done, and thank you. I know it's been hard, but we're on a better path. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. And Dr. Wade McLean.
Thanks, Chair Real. Due to some family health concerns, I was unable to attend a couple of commitments for the college that I was supposed to attend, and Board Chair Real stepped up and covered those for me, so I publicly would like to thank her for her commitment to this college, because she doesn't go home. She's everywhere. I was able to go on a tour with staff to the Gospel Rescue Mission of Opportunity and the Welcome Center. It was very rewarding, very eye-opening. Thanks to the foundation and staff, we are participating in the vocational training of a number of people in this community that need a lot of assistance. And I'm thankful that we're able to do that, and hopefully they will be able to get back on their feet and become a participatory member of our community. Also went on a tour of the juvenile court school, which I originally had participated in the 80s. So it was nice to see the update, and we can thank the County Superintendent Dustin Williams for leading that effort. And it's a very, very important thing that we do in that program, because we have juveniles that go to court, they get incarcerated for a very short time. And my experience as a high school principal, what happened was they would be released after being gone a month, come back to school, be behind in all their courses, and flunk for the semester. Then guess what? Then they didn't show up the next semester. So this program helps them catch up. In my old world, we would transition them with their grades into an alternative school, start them in the beginning of the regular semester to ensure their success. So there's a lot of good things going on that this college participates in. And it was my first college day this year, very successful day. I enjoyed it very much, and hope to be able to participate in that next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. I have a whole list, but I'm going to cut it down just to my top three for sake of time. Welcome back to the school year, my favorite time of the year. I didn't have my crazy dream of, showing up late to class with the wrong materials and naked this year. I did have it last year, and I haven't taught for 3 years, so I don't get that. But so welcome back to school, all of you, and I'm so glad that we're all in this together, making lives better and opening up possibilities and opportunities. All College Day, Greg, fabulous job as MC, and Dr. Dolores Duran-Cerda, fabulous. I think this is my 25th All College Day, and I really do think it was the best one I've ever been to, so thank you so much for making that so special. I went to a lot of fun things this summer, all for the college, and the two I wanted to mention were, I went to a paramedic graduation just last week, and this is a paramedic program which usually takes, I think, like 1.5 to 2 years in other institutions, excuse me, and they do it in 6.5 months, something, I might even be wrong on that, it might be faster than that, but I think there were 29 graduates from all over the United States for the U.S. Air Force, and it was super, super impressive. Their families and children were there to celebrate their accomplishment, and it was really amazing. So thank you to all of the folks that are involved in those amazing programs. I hope that Pima can continue working with the U.S. Air Force and other entities to keep these programs going. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is early in the semester, beginning of August, I went to the PCC tutoring conference for all of our tutors here at the college. I think we have between 150 and 250 tutors, and they do amazing things. I recall back when I was faculty that oftentimes the tutors would be the ones who would help the students understand it from a different perspective, and that was when they knew it from two perspectives, all of a sudden the light would go on and they would get it. So I just want to send out my thanks to all the tutors and all of the employees that make sure that that whole program runs so well for all of our students. Any students out there, if you haven't gone to the tutoring center, do it early and often, because it's usually the difference between an A and not an A grade. So remember that from this advice. Okay, so thank you so much, and that's the end of my remarks. Moving on to 1.6, our Pima mission moment, and it's Phil Burdick, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Real and members of the board. It's a pleasure to come before you tonight with some great people behind me. It's my pleasure to introduce our new student recruitment team. This student recruitment area is a new department for us, and it was put together without any new money from the college. In fact, we put it together through reallocating our budget from my area, which is external relations. Our student recruiters have only been here a short time, but they're doing a great job, and let me just show you one stat. Can we put that on the screen? There we go. So I'm happy to report that fall applications for this year were up 6%. That's following a really great year last year where our fall applications were up 21%. And that's a great increase from 2021 where it was down 1%. But, you know, it's not all the student recruitment team. Let me also recognize our peer mentors, our enrollment advisors, our enrollment and advertising liaisons, and our program advisors. And with that, let me introduce Michelle Burt. She's the manager of our student recruitment team and our student outreach team. And I'm going to give you a slide for that as well. Take me just a moment. Okay, it's not coming up for some reason. There we go. Michelle, take it away.
Thank you, Phil. Again, my name is Michelle Burt. I'm manager of student recruitment. I've been with Pima for 5 years, working in veteran services and then also in virtual services before transitioning to this role. My team are these three fantastic people behind me. We have John Locks, we have Anel Cosillo, Marcos Amaneros. So I'm going to hand it over to each of these individuals. They're going to share a little bit about what it is that they do, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. John?
Thank you. Good evening. So what do I do all day? I reach out to our community, to any prospective student. Everyone who starts an application, I get an alert on my screen, thanks to Enrollment RX, or CRM. And what else do we do? It's not just, hey, they started an application, but it's, hi Dolores, how can I help you today? What questions do you have to get started on your journey? How do I navigate the website? Well, let's do that together. John, where do I start? I have no idea, but I know I'm supposed to go to Pima. Okay, let's talk about that. What are your dreams? And what do you want to go accomplish? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? These are the questions that I answer every day. And I do it with a full heart and a great big smile. Because every day, I affect lives. From the first moment, we create that student success team. And we march into the future. And my colleagues behind me are going to go into a little bit more of everything that we do when we talk to about 200 students a week. And now?
Hi everyone, I'm Anel Cosillo, one of the outreach coordinators. So one great thing about this role is that we get to connect with students and help them with the admission process. So, many goes from steps to take in order to get into the finish line, answering questions, and talk about the programs Pima's currently offer. A lot of the students' comments is like, thank you so much for calling. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so lost. I did get a couple weeks ago from a student that I was working with her since March. And she was completely lost, and she sent me an email thanking me because she was already registered for fall semesters. So our primary goal is to serve as a concierge for students, between students and enrollment advisors, so they can have a smoother registration. I'll pass it down to my colleague, Marcos.
Hi everyone, I'm Marcos. I wanted to touch on one of the roles that we have as our team is that whenever we're trying to contact students Our electronic communication has all the information. We can do everything we can, but we're all bombarded with tons of emails, my orders for my shopping carts, my notifications from Facebook, all these different things that come in. And by us just making that extra effort, that extra step, trying to get them on the phone, trying to keep reaching out, we build those personal connections with the students, and we give them personal connections to build with the college. And it kind of helps our community out there just to know that we're there, we care, and we're here for you. Doesn't matter what the question is, from where's this form to how do I connect with financial aid. Thank you, and I'll hand off to Michelle.
So basically, my team reaches out to answer any questions and every question that a student might have, and to just try to make it as seamless of a process as we possibly can. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
You guys are my heroes. Thank you for doing what you do. That's amazing. I know there are a lot of people at Pima who are helping students, but I think this first line, especially when students aren't sure what to do, I know people have told me that they tried, but they couldn't get it, and they quit. And so you guys are going to be their salvation, so thank you for doing that. Are you located at a certain campus, or is it all virtual online?
We are actually located at District, but we do everything over the phone, or we do Google Meets if necessary. We do have some students that do need a little bit more special attention and walking through and troubleshooting, so we're able to share screens and walk them through those processes, but we are located here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to say that it is a very gratifying role to be in, because people are excited. When we get done talking to them, they're excited about their next steps. So it's a little selfish of a reason too. Any other questions?
Let me just add that this group is part of a sort of a business reorganization where we're following a lot of the things that the for-profit colleges do. And I will tell you that they seem really nice here. They are #1 excellent harassers. When the student starts their application, they'll get a nice phone call, but then they'll get another phone call, and then they will get an email, and then they will get a text. But this is what our students need, especially students that don't have a college-going culture or a parent behind their back pushing them while we push them. This is what for-profit colleges do so well, and why, unfortunately, they're so successful. We need to follow some of their business practices, not only because it's good business for us, but because it also serves our community and what our students really need. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. That was great. Well, we're moving on to section 2.1, but my computer froze, so it's the administrative reports.
We have athletics. Actually, you want to go? Yeah, here, actually. I'll help you out. So we have new student senators, and Dr. Suzanne Desjardins, who is joining us virtually, is going to be helping to present, along with Jennifer Madrid, Dean of Student Affairs, or Dean of Students, excuse me.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see my screen share.
Dr. Desjardins, could you maybe raise the volume a little bit, please?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Can you see the screen share?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Madam Chair, Governing Board, Chancellor Duran-Cerda, colleagues and guests, my name is Suzanne Desjardins. I'm the Vice President of Student Affairs, and I have the honor and privilege of presenting to you all our 2023-2024 Student Senate for the year. I wanted to also share with you a little bit about our team and who they are. So Jennifer Madrid, our Dean of Students, unfortunately, there's a group of us attending a conference, and so she got caught in travel delays. She was not able to join us virtually after all, But Jennifer's role as Dean of Students is she's the direct administrative liaison to the Student Senate. And then next, Valerie Vidal King, who is in the audience. She is our Director of Student Engagement. Valerie, if you could please stand. Valerie and Juan Pablo Santillan, JP, he is not able to join us this evening due to a conflict, but Valerie and JP are the frontline support to the Student Life Coordinating Team. And the Student Life Coordinating Team serve as mentors to all of the senators, but in particular, we have 2 lead advisors to the Student Senate, and I would like them to also stand. Julia Mahalik and Danielle Cheney, our Northwest Campus Student Life Coordinator, and our West Campus Student Life Coordinator. They are the 2 lead advisors to the Student Senate, and they have done a phenomenal job in helping the Student Senate get elected, put together their campaigns. They've done an excellent professional development training program for them and have further developed and strengthened the Student Senate mentorship program. So without further ado, I wanted to share with you all a little bit about the Senate itself. So the Senate started back in 2015-16, what used to be called the Inter-Campus Council. And over the course of a couple of years, we changed its name to Student Senate. Our Student Life Leadership Team did national benchmarking. We're one of the only community colleges to have a Student Senate. In fact, Maricopa Community College benchmarked us, which is something we can be very proud of. And they are a stellar group. And so they are a shared governance group, and they do follow Robert's Rules of Order. That's one of the professional development trainings that they do. They have monthly meetings that they hold in addition to separate planning meetings. And so really what the senator's role is to serve as the voice of the student body and to bring forward recommendations to administration about issues that are impacting the student experience. How can we resolve those issues, collaborate, brainstorm, work together? And then they also serve as advocates for students and hold office hours at the campuses or virtually to connect with the student body as a whole. In addition, the structure of the Senate allows for them to have 2 seats at each of the campuses, in addition to Pima Online, and Adult Basic Education for College and Career directly appoints a student senator as well. So with that, we are so pleased to let you know that we have our whole student senator body here today. Everyone is in person with the exception of one person who's joined us virtually. And when I introduce him, I will ask him to unmute if he's able and show you his face on camera if he's able to. But otherwise, senators, as I say your name, if you would please stand so the governing board and our community can see who you are and recognize you. So first we have Arnold Moniel Jr., who is our chair of the Student Senate, and he represents Adult Basic Education for College and Career. Arnold, if you can please stand. Then we have Cesar Pena, who is our Desert Vista campus senator, and he is the All College Council representative. Cesar, if you can please stand. And then Astor Schaefer, who is on Zoom with us. He is our Downtown Campus senator, and he's also our marketing officer. Astor, I don't know if you're able to unmute.
Howdy.
Thank you. Next, we have Christy Snowden, who is our secretary, and she also serves at the Downtown Campus. Christy, if you can please stand. Next, we have Randall Treveja, and he is our East Campus senator. Randall, if you can please stand. Alexander Garcia, he is our Northwest Campus senator. Alexander, if you can please stand. And then several of you may recognize Athena Titi Martinez, who is completing her 2nd year as a student senator, her 2nd term. Thank you so much for returning, Titi. She's been a great mentor to the other senators. Titi is representing the Pima Online campus this year, and she is also serving as our co-chair for Student Senate and on All College Council. And Titi, if you're not standing already, if you'll please do so. And then we have William Romanenko, and he is also serving Pima Online. He is also the parliamentarian and is an all-college council rep. And William, if you can please stand. And then last but not least, we have Rebecca Ursul, who is our West Campus student representative, and she is also the governing board rep. So you all will get to see Rebecca several times throughout the year. Rebecca, if you're not already standing, please do so. And Marquise Vaughn, who is also a second term senator and returning to help mentor our new Senate leadership. Marquise, if you can please stand. Marquise is also leading our Student Senate project this year. And so it's really great TT and Marquise have returned, because having that knowledge base to help the Senate with their project, which is a huge undertaking that they do over the year, is something that we're really excited to have continue. And with that, if there are any questions, we would definitely like to address those. And if there are no questions, we do want to let you know that, oops, I'm trying to unshare here, and my Zoom just went a little hooey. Sorry about that. If there are no questions, you can also reach out to us at our listserv, pcc-studentlife@pima.edu. Any questions from the governing board? Thank you all so very much. And everyone who is standing, please feel free to take your seats. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. It was really nice meeting you. If the governing board can ever be of assistance to, if you need us to, come help out at a fundraiser or something like that, just call Dr. McLean and he'll get all of us in line and we'll help you out. Okay. Next we have Jim Monaco, Athletic Director of PCC Athletics, and Aubrey Conover, Dr. Aubrey Conover.
Good evening, members of the board, Chancellor, colleagues, and guests. My name is Aubrey Conover. It's a privilege to talk to you all this evening. One of the hats I wear at Pima is overseeing athletics, and when I say that, really, I'm just the administrator that helps these wonderful people do the amazing things that they're doing. Before I introduce Jim to go into some details, I want to share a brief story. I went to a conference this past spring, and there was a session on best practices for community college athletics, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I go to the session, I write down like 10 or 15 things. I'm like, I'm going to come back and show that I can make a difference here. So I come back, I sit down with Jim, and I was like, start reading them off. He's like, oh, check, yeah, we did that about 2 years ago. It's perfect. We have it running. We have volunteers. I was like, oh, awesome. Second, same thing. By the end, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. These folks are amazing. They are cutting edge. They are doing things that no one else is doing, things that people are aspiring to do, and it shows. I think we start to take it for granted a little bit, the success that we have with our sports on and off the field. Every week or two, you see something in the paper of another athlete doing an amazing thing, another group achieving amazing success together, and it really goes to the amazing work of our coaches, our staff, everyone in that program that cares so much about their student athletes. Day in and day out, they're putting in incredible hours, and I'm just proud to be part of it. So with that, I'll introduce Jim Monaco, our athletic director, to give you some more details.
Good evening. I'm going to try to use my inside voice so I don't hurt people. I am Jim Monaco. I'm the athletic director here at Pima Community College, and very fortunate to be that. We have our slides, but I just wanted to touch off with a couple of things. We were one of the very first departments that had co-curricular assessments. We did them. We got them implemented. We were one of the first departments in the college to have a strategic plan. Thank you. That's why I have help. We're one of the first departments to have a strategic plan, and we made our achievements difficult to hit, and we've hit every one of them, surpassed. Pima student athletes are the first in the college to volunteer for anything. We help with our foundation. We help when we need student assessments done. We help when we need student surveys done. They'll call us. We get it done. We volunteer. But I want to just touch real quickly on what we've done in athletics. And I hope you all know that. But 12 of our 13 teams went to compete for a national or district championship this year. 12 of 13. Now, you might sit there and say, the 13th, why didn't they go? Well, they also play in a conference where the national championship team is. So we don't play in a very easy conference. So everybody who moves on is moving on in the SEC. And if you don't know what that is, Southeast Conference in football, that's what we play in every sport. Our kids are 63% diversity in our student body. 63%. We have 22% of our teams, 22% of our kids were academic All-Americans this year. That's 3.6 or higher. 14 of them were at 4.0. We had the highest GPA we've ever had in our athletic department. Our cross-country team was a 3.69. We make our student athletes take 15 hours, not 12. Right? That was the mission of this college a few years ago, and we started that 5 years ago, because we need to get these people graduated. And when you have student athletes, everybody who's been one knows we're all going to the pros. So that's the carrot you hang in front of them, as Edgar Soto used to say. That's the carrot you hang in front. Oh yeah, you're all going to the pros, but that's why you got to take 15 credits. That's why you have to do 8 hours of study hall every week. That's why you have to do 25 hours of community service every semester. And yeah, we'll get you to the pros. Well, some do get there, but lots get their degree. And that's the key, because I was one of those, oh yeah, I'm going to the pros. And thank God I had a college education. We have over 7,500 total credit hours in athletics. With all that I've just told you, and I'm trying to keep my 5 minutes, so I'm going as quick as I can, we invest in our people. That's coaches, assistant coaches, and our student athletes, along with the best athletic training department in the country. We have raised money, and I say we, I mean administratively, and we have spent $30,000 a year on a program called Mind Ready, which teaches our student athletes time management, how to deal with some disappointment, how to handle everyday life, and they have an on-call person 24/7. And we just believe that that's something that's important because, once again, we've all had that time in our life when we've been down. And athletic coaches are parents to a lot of these young people. We have developed a program that teaches you have to believe in something bigger than yourself. Our coaches work nonstop, and they're there 24 hours a day for our kids. But more importantly, our kids are there 24 hours a day for this college. They work from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, and then go home and have to do homework because you don't get to play if you don't pass. On top of that, this year, our student athletes have built 3 homes for Habitat for Humanity. They have worked the car shows. They have worked the NJCAA championships. They have gone out and done a winter clothes drives for the elementary schools on the west side during the winter when those kids don't have gloves and hats. And they collect it all and they go. But before I leave you, and I just want to say that we've had help from our community because we give back. Chapman Automotive have been incredible to us and continue to do so. And with that money, we've used that to take care of things that the budget just can't take care of, like extra food, because we don't have dorms, we don't have meal plans. So we have things in our athletic training room for our kids to be able to go ahead and eat. We've developed our own study hall where we don't have to take up all the space in the regular study hall, and they have the opportunity to do it every day for as many hours as they need. And we also have our coaches monitor that. So not only do we have tutors, but we have coaches in there making sure they show up. We've helped so many kids. And you know, Richard talked about Jim Melky. He was a great man. He was a really nice human being. But with the Larry Toledos and the Rich Alldays and the Jim Melkys, who've laid incredible foundation, in Pima athletics. I believe we've built on top of that and gone on. And from the day I started here with Coach Curran in '99, this has never been a stepping stone for me. This is a launching pad. And that's proof positive in the last three things I'm going to give you. Fernando Garate was one of our men's soccer player. He didn't have a bad home life. He had really good grades. He was a really good athlete. Came to Pima, won a national championship, and then got accepted to Cornell University. So he's at an Ivy League school from Pima. Trey Tinninger was one of the best high jumpers in the country in high school. He ended up going to Central Arizona during COVID. He had terrible family issues. He really spiraled badly. He got into drugs. He got very heavy. He couldn't compete anymore and he got kicked out of school. He came to Coach Harrison and begged for an opportunity. We sat down. We told him, you'll get an opportunity, but we're not just going to sit here. You're going to have to do the work. The young man made up all the credits, did incredible, placed in the national championships, and now is at the University of Oregon running track. And then we have Anthony Imoff, a 6'6" left-handed pitcher. If you know anything about athletics, the kid should have been drafted out of high school. But he wasn't. He had a hard time in school and actually failed a semester. We had to bench him for a year. He had a red shirt. He was going to leave school. He had nothing happening. He wasn't going home. Father didn't want him home. But he went home, came back, buckled down, passed all his classes, made up all the classes he failed, and got drafted by the Chicago White Sox this past spring. This is what this college does. Not just athletics, it's what the college does. And this community is a large part of us, as I believe we are of them. And in the future, there should never be a drop-off in Pima athletics because it represents the best that this college shows. Fortitude, marching forward, never just taking, and these kids know how to grind. And if you're going to hire somebody, when they leave an athletics program at Pima, they know how to work, or they wouldn't be graduating from Pima College in athletics. If you have any questions, thank you very much.
Are there any questions that I can turn over to Jim because he knows the answers?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you for the program. I've always known that athletics is an opening for many of the underprivileged students out there. So I have always been supportive of athletics because, and I already knew that the students had to take 15 credit hours. I just didn't know the extent to what you guys have built. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I just think it's a wonderful program.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be seeing you at all of your events this year.
Please.
Wendy Weeks with an HLC update. And Wendy, before you start, once again, Maria mentioned it, but thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It was our #1 priority to make sure that we continue to, meet the HLC requirements to be receive our reaffirmation of our accreditation. And we're so thankful for you and for all of the people who have done all of that work to write those amazing reports. So thank you.
Well, good evening, Chair Rial, board members, Chancellor Don Serta, colleagues and guests. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. It's a shame that I put this presentation together because there have been so many changes since I submitted it. So you're going to find me going a little off script tonight, but I really need to. So our monitoring report was submitted, and when I wrote this, that's all that had happened. But 2 days ago, we have received a response from the HLC. So it is posted online, so it's available to anybody who would like to read it. Right now, we are clear on monitoring. There were some comments that they didn't hear or read exactly what they wanted from us, but they made it very, very clear the lengths we have gone to to reach what they were looking for. They also recognized that we had a lot of obstacles that we weren't expecting and they weren't expecting. So they're just kind of saying, when you submit in December of 24 your assurance argument, please address this again, and we're going to. So I'm pretty excited about that, and there's a lot of people who worked on that. You'll see them in just a little bit. First town hall meeting was August 28th. You can see the attendees there. And there were 52. Half of them were Criterion leads, but the other half were from either within the college or in our outside community. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Chair Rial. She sat there for 6 hours during that entire presentation, which is really hard to do. So our next town hall is on September 19th. Not asking you to come and sit for 6 hours, but they're 45 minutes. If you could come and sit for 45 minutes, we would be really grateful to you. Our assurance argument. So we have submitted 3 of them, Criterion 1, Criterion 3, and Criterion 4 to our consultant. And we have gotten responses on them already. She's been super quick. Criterion 1 has minimal corrections, and that is being worked on. Criterion 3, all there were suggestions. That one came back. It is in great shape. Criterion 4. This one has moderate corrections, but the comment back on Criterion 4 was, Criterion 4 is in better shape than I have read in some colleges' final reports. So that tells me as a draft we are on the right track. But what we are going to do, we have an 8-member team going to a virtual workshop to work on one of our weaker areas of Criterion 4, and we are sending an 8-member team to Chicago on the assessment for co-curricular, which is one of our weaker areas. And so we have an 8-member team going in October to work on that. What's next? We are doing a preparation for a mock visit December 4th and 5th. It says anticipated. That is now solid. So again, this was prepared prior to that being done. So if everybody could clear their schedules for December 4th and 5th, it will be virtual. This is just a preparation for the mock visit that is coming down the line. We have some reports in progress that we are working on. These are not new. We've known about them. A mock visit, there will be peer reviewers here who have no affiliation with us whatsoever right now. They're coming in with fresh eyes. They're going to do a mock visit with us and see how we do. That's being planned right now. We don't have the exact dates. It will be probably late February, early March of 24. And again, our on-site visit by the HLC is in 2024 on the 9th and 10th of December. With that, we are up to at least 80 people to thank that have put so much work into the HLC, and this is just growing. The best I can do is put up a presentation each time we come with people to thank. A lot of these people are in the audience right now. A lot of them are online. If you see them, please thank them. And with that, I'll take any questions.
I feel I've talked a lot today, but I'm just going to say one more thing, and then I will stop. I would encourage everybody in the college community to pick the criterion that you're interested in, that it affects you or your life here at work, and go to one of these forums. And then pick another one that you're not familiar with. I took 8 pages of notes, and it was all just so interesting and so amazing, all of the things going on at the college. So you'd be amazed at what you could learn. It's 45 minutes, and we'd love for your help, your assistance to be there. So thank you for thinking of that. September 19th at Desert Vista. And I don't know if, Wendy, you mentioned this, but there's going to be one every month, and it's going to rotate times and days and campuses. So if you can't be there at this one coming up at Desert Vista, just plan on one of the ones coming up soon. You might want to go to more than one. I'll go to another one because it was very, very interesting. So thank you. So next, for enrollment updates, Dr. Suzanne Desjardins will provide the update, and David Arellano's, because David Arellano's airplane was delayed. So Suzanne, thank you for taking this for us.
Yes, thank you all. Members of the board, Madam Chair, Chancellor, colleagues, and guests. I am not David Arellano. Suzanne Desjardins represented David Arellano, who is our Dean of Enrollment Management, who prepared this comprehensive report for you. So we wanted to highlight or start off talking about summer enrollment. And so good news, we can see that our summer headcount is up by 7.7%. We have seen trending increases in the positive numbers this whole year, which has been great. And we're about 400 students away in summer from our 5-year high point, which was summer 2019. And so these positive increases really not only provide momentum as we lead into fall registration, but it also validates for us that a lot of the proactive practices that we are all doing across the college are paying off, right? And there's so many different teams across the college looking at that. And on the instructional side as well, how we're scheduling and how we're improving our scheduling, of course, is part of that. For fall 2023, we also can see a trending upward. Our 2023 fall headcount is up almost 2% compared to last fall. We also see a 4.6% increase in Hispanic or Latino headcount compared to our previous fall. And a 3.3% increase in our male headcount compared to last year. And additionally, a 3% increase in the 18 to 24 age range. So in particular, our team and several teams across the college, we're really looking at the equity pieces, and we're looking at how can we disaggregate this data around gender and cultural background, looking at our marginalized groups and looking at what are the proactive things that we can do different and better. Our chancellor's call to action to really create that culture of caring and really focus on the relationship building and a lot of the things that have been going on around the college, again, from a pedagogical perspective, theoretical frames that are informing practice and praxis. This is what we're seeing play out here. And so super exciting to see that happening. And then we really wanted to talk about the holistic pieces, again, that we're doing. So you heard earlier from Phil's team doing amazing work. On the student affairs side of the house, we're also doing proactive outreach. We're doing text messaging campaigns and continue to do our advising outreach from our program advising and counseling teams. So we wanted to highlight some of those facts for you. So you heard about all the admission applications going up and how our systems have really improved to help us do that work. We have done on the student affairs side text messaging to the tune of about 22,000 messages going into fall and about 14,000 advising interactions for fall semester. So again, we can see that the dividends and the return on investment of these service interactions and these outreach efforts are paying off in our enrollment numbers. And then one of the other things that we wanted to talk about was the Super Saturdays events. And again, what we do is an after action review every semester after Super Saturday. It's a very large cross-functional team that includes not just student affairs, but financial aid, scholarships, student life, student engagement, external relations, recruitment, high school outreach, dual enrollment, accounts receivable, veteran services, access and disability services, adult education, Pima Online. Our learning communities, faculty showed up to participate that were teaching in the learning communities and really marketed and highlighted that for students and learners. Our student senators participated and tabled. We had library services present, our testing centers. IT was there to support us along with facilities, and our college police. Big shout out to them. They were awesome and keeping us all safe and secure. And what we really saw, again, a culmination of all these efforts of process improvement and tweaking each time was this last round. 650 students were served, and our surveys that they get immediately after they come through our QLIS system, they get a text message with the survey link and they can click right on it. 95% student satisfaction. So we really are seeing that these efforts are playing out in real time for students, that high touch that they're looking for. David wanted me to share an interaction that he had with a student, and I was actually sitting next to him. So this gentleman came in. He was a person of color. He was African American, came up to David and had a conversation, and he said, hey, you know, I was a truck driver by trade. I heard about this event. I'm looking to re-career. You know, you look like somebody I could talk to. Can you walk me through this? And so he was an adult learner, obviously, and someone who was re-careering and still kind of had that fear, that imposter syndrome that we hear about. And he had a wonderful conversation with David. David did advising and a whole holistic advising session with him, was able to walk him through several steps to getting him enrolled and getting him registered. And what David wanted me to convey is that testimonial is why we are there on Saturdays, why we do events like this, and why we continue to look at process improvement and keep the students at the center and learners at the center of everything that we do. So we wanted to just share some of those numbers with you. We will continue to look at process improvement as we go forward. Looking at fall, you all have heard that we are looking at some real relationship building. We in Student Affairs are looking at our First Gen initiative to really focus on that group of learners and more proactive outreach and support to that group of students, which actually there's a lot of intersectionality around that identity. It's going to touch upon a lot of other identities that those students bring and have, but from an asset-based perspective, not a deficit frame perspective in how we view our students and our learners. And then going into spring, we want to continue that work. We have looked at the Excellencia in Education initiative and that partnership, and we're doing work there. Looking at Men of Color is another initiative. So lots of really good work happening around the whole college and looking at high impact practices holistically across the whole college and how we can bring those efforts to fruition. So with that, are there any questions from the board? And I may not be able to answer them, but I will take them forward.
Okay.
If I'm not
Hi.
able to.
So anyway, I would like to know if there's any way that the data that's being provided, the head count and the enrollment, is there any way that you could break it down so that we knew some way how many credit hours they're taking?
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Richmond is on Zoom, and so we would obviously work with STAR to put together whatever kind of report that you are looking for if you want something drilled down to those kinds of levels. Madam Chair, is that something you can prepare back for us and we can take a look at how to make that happen?
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk about that, and we'll send something to Dr. Dolores Duran-Cerda, and she'll talk with you all. That would be great. Thank you. Thanks, Suzanne. We appreciate you stepping up and giving us the presentation, and it's wonderful to see those numbers going up. So thank you for all that you and your people do to make sure that these students are successful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to administrative reports, and we'll start with, it looks like the Student Senate report from Rebecca Ursule. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yeah, that's how I pronounce my last name.
Okay.
Yep. Good evening, board members, chancellor, faculty, and guests. My name is Rebecca Ursule. I'm the Student Senate representing the West Campus and the student representative in the governing board. I appreciate the board listening and giving us the time to represent our fellow students. First and foremost, I would like to talk about the Student Senate body. The summer election was successfully held on July 17th to 31st. And the listed members below are elected to serve their respective campuses. So the first one is the Desert Vista campus. We have Cesar Penner, The West Campus is Rebecca Ercil and Marcus Vargan. Downtown Campus, we have Asta Skeffer and Christy Snowden. The East Campus, we have Randall Chebajar. Northwest Campus, we have Alex Garcia. Online Campus, we have Will Romanico and Artina Martinez. Then the Adult Basic Education, we have Arnold Montiel. To continue, I also want to talk about the Student Senate Cabinet. On August 17th, the Student Senate orientation was held at the Pima Community District Office. During this meeting, Student Senate Cabinet members were elected, and below are the Student Senate Cabinet members. Our chairperson for the board is Arnold Montiel, co-chair is Artina Martinez, secretary is Christy Snowden, parliamentarian is William Romanico, project lead is Marcus Vagan, marketing officer is Asta Skeffer, governing board representative is Rebecca Ercil, and all college council representatives are William Romanico, Artina Martinez, and Cesar Pena. And not only that, but also Student Senate and the Student Life are collaborating, and whereby they collaborated in the Welcome Week, whereby each senator represented their campuses throughout the Welcome Week in asking me tables. They also collaborated in the involvement fairs, whereby each senator represented their campuses. We also have our regular meetings. So in these regular meetings for Student Senate, there will be an open comment section of maximum of 10 minutes per meeting for all Pima Community College students at the start of the meeting, and we include voting on items by Student Senate. The meeting will be recorded, and all members of the Pima Community College will be invited to join virtually, and one can access all Student Senate meetings, agendas, regular meeting, recordings, and meeting minutes under the Student Senate document section. We also have the regular meetings, which I've just talked about, and our first regular meeting is scheduled for September 19th at 12 to 1:30 p.m. We also, the second one is on Tuesday, October 17th at 12 to 1:30 p.m. The next one will be in November 14th at 12 to 1:30 p.m. Then the last one will be in December 12 at 12 to 1:30 p.m. Last but not least, Student Senates are also having the working meetings. So these meetings will be mandatory for Student Senates, but will not be recorded. And all members of the Pima Community College will also be invited to join virtually. The agendas and the meeting minutes can also be accessed under the Student Senate document section. Finally, Student Senates will have a town hall, and our town hall dates for this year will be on Wednesday, November 15th at the downtown campus at 12 to 2 p.m. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Rebecca, for bringing that report to the board, and we look forward to seeing you next month at our next board meeting.
Thank you.
Next up is Sean Mendoza with the adjunct faculty report. I think Sean's on the internet.
Yes, Chairwoman Ryle, Interim Chancellor Duran Serta, members of the board, and honored guests. Welcome back, everyone, to another school year here at Pima Community College. Tonight, I'll provide you an update on communication strategies and resources employed to benefit adjunct faculty and the continued support offered by administration. Thank you, Interim Chancellor Duran Serta, for starting a dialogue to discuss concerns and needs unique to our employee group. I particularly enjoyed our discussion on how to nurture a culture of teaching and learning and how it may benefit student success at our college. I also appreciate the open line of communication you've continued to provide to the adjunct faculty. I'm sharing this with the board because if there's anyone that understands the challenges facing adjunct faculty, it would be our interim chancellor, a former adjunct faculty member herself. We look forward to having you share your thoughts in November and acting provost Jeff Thies in October. Thank you, interim chancellor and provost. As you may have seen regarding the attached adjunct faculty agenda, This document contains the recording of our hour-long meeting and a timestamp of specific topics discussed. Given our large adjunct faculty community, I believe that leveraging technology to encourage participation in either a synchronous or asynchronous setting is the key to engaging our transient community. With that said, everyone on this call has a standing invitation to attend our adjunct faculty meeting. With nearly 50 attendees on every meeting, I hope to see more adjunct faculty engaged in governance and sharing innovative ways to support the college and our students. If you can't make it, you're welcome to watch all or any topic that interests you on the current and future agendas. As mentioned in the May meeting, there are 2 proposals impacting adjunct faculty that are making their way through the college pending policy confirmation and approval. The first proposal will compensate adjunct faculty at $150 for a class canceled within a given time period at the beginning of the semester. The second proposal aims to ensure that adjunct faculty are paid on time. These proposals address incidents experienced at one time or another by our employee group. I ask the board to please support these initiatives. It's important that all employees are compensated for their time and support of the college and our students. And lastly, I want to thank the efforts of Diane Miller and IT for the creation of the PCC Faculty Technology Directory. If you haven't already had a chance to see it, it puts in one place all technology resources and support relevant to faculty who engage with students in a face-to-face or online environment. Thank you, board members, for your continued support of the adjunct faculty, and this ends my report.
Thank you, Sean. The staff report is next from Erica Elias.
Good evening, Chairperson Real, members of the board, Chancellor, and guests. Student Affairs is conducting a RISE training for all academic success counselors and program advisors. The purpose of these trainings is to facilitate student support, connectedness, and elicit a sense of community for students. We're extremely excited to continue promoting a student-centered learning environment. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Faculty report is next with Denise Riley.
Good evening. Good evening. Third time's a charm. Good evening, Chairperson Real, members of the board, Chancellor Duran Cerda, colleagues, and guests. My name is Denise Riley, and I am representing the faculty for the last term officially as your governing board representative. I wanted to start by saying thank you for your continued support of faculty at Pima Community College, as well as your leadership to the college and community. Some of you have a long tenure in education, and some of you have been longtime supporters of education in the community. Faculty Senate is a representative body of all faculty and is part of the governance process of the college, which includes approximately over 250 full-time faculty, and we also represent the adjunct faculty. We've had 2 meetings thus far, the first on All College Day, and I can echo the sentiments said earlier about the feeling tone being extremely positive. We loved the messaging of the culture of caring and the limiting the new. We welcome new leadership, especially in academic areas long been unfulfilled. We appreciate the emphasis on all programs at PCC, and we have great hope in the academic leadership, the strong organizational skills in the leadership team, and we believe this will result in continued student success. Some areas of focus for our group will be in the area of standardization of practices. As mentioned many times before, we do believe faculty are the heart and soul of the institution. In fact, we're an institution of teaching and learning. So whether we teach in the classroom virtually, online, face-to-face, or a combination, we do feel like the structure is needed for even the basic practices to work at its best. We will also continue to care about shared governance and the input. We know that we're valued employees. We're aware that our voice is important, but the structure has to take place to make that possible. We look forward to the coming academic year. We look forward to the new leadership, and we thank you so much for your continued service. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And last up, thank you but not least, Jim Craig with the administrative report. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson Real, distinguished board, Chancellor Duran-Cerda, fellow representatives, PCC, family, and friends. The administration is so excited to welcome Dr. Dolores Duran-Cerda as interim chancellor, Dr. Jeff Tees as acting provost, and Dr. Michael Parker as acting vice provost. These leaders will lead the college and advance the college to new levels of excellence and navigate us through the challenges we face ahead. We're very excited that you're on board. The Chancellor has been promoting a culture of caring, and we have a number of examples of that throughout the college all the time. I wanted to highlight one from the Communication Division, and this is a new student welcome event from the Translation and Interpretation Studies students. There's so many things that they did so well and so caring for these students, including an orientation before the semester started to relieve anxiety, meeting with their entire support network so they know who to come to for support, meeting with alumni who actually came, a number of alumni who came and did motivational speeches and gave them stories of success that they could experience. There were prizes given, packages, goodies. Also, all the participants were enrolled in a drawing for scholarships. So just one example of how we are a culture of caring at Pima Community College. The student media, the Aztec Press and Pima Post, are actually undergoing a massive shift and reinvention into something brand new. And that's being inspired and advised by students, the community, and industry members. I'm not going to leak what that is yet. You're going to have to wait, but this is just a teaser. So look for good things coming in the future. Full-time theater faculty member Chris Will released his book, How to Succeed in Musical Theater by Waveland Press. The cover photograph is actually all of our own Pima students, so it's a great book. Full-time photography faculty member An T. Anwan is actually triply recognized here. He's the co-author and wrote an entire chapter in the book of the Routledge Companion to Decolonization, Art, Craft, and Visual Culture. He was also announced as the 2023 Night Bloom Grant recipient from the Tucson Museum of Contemporary Art. In addition, An received the Photographic Resource Center's Exposure 2023 Juror Award, and that came from the photography at San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. So congratulations. The Applied Technology Division is happy to share that the fall courses for automation robotics, computer-aided design, machining, and welding all started at the new Advanced Manufacturing Building. We moved in. Congratulations. This includes 2 cohorts of high school welding students enrolled through JTED. Big thanks to so many people, the lab specialists, Troy Davis and the facilities team for getting the building ready, Andres and the Chase team, and Renee Reinhardt for planning the move. So congratulations to everybody for their involvement in allowing us to move in and actually start having our courses and labs at the new building. The Center for Excellence for Health Professions is on the opposite side of that. They started demolition. So the West Campus is formally in demolition mode. In addition, the new Community Health Worker Training Program, in partnership with El Rio, welcomed the first cohort of 11 students this semester. The COE in Sciences and Engineering has now produced a strategic plan for the Center of Excellence. There's 5 main goals that you can read about, and there's also an entire strategic plan that you can view in the link here for later. Also, the SARCEF 2023 Camp Innovation at Northwest Campus wasn't only met at Northwest Campus, but throughout the city. This tremendously popular and successful program consisted of 7-week camps open to students grades 4 and 5 and 6 through 8. Just a wonderful testimony to all the work of our STEM professors and faculty and all the volunteers that went into that event. The Center of Excellence of IT and Cybersecurity continues to show tremendous growth.
with an increase of enrollment over 13% this fall. That's been pretty consistent with this program since 2018. 14 IT technician interns supported COE operations in networking administration, cybersecurity during the summer of 2023, along with 5 data center specialists, 6 IT cyber peer mentors, and 4 CIS tutors, all hired for the fall of 2023. These are all Pima Community College students getting real hands-on work and real hands-on experience in part-time jobs. The Workforce Development and Innovation has some statewide recognition. Arnold Montiel, ABEC student and student senator, was selected as the Arizona Association for Lifelong Learning Student of the Year. Priscilla Phillips, IBEST advisor, was also selected as the AALL Support Staff of the Year. Amazing things are going on with IBEST. ABEC and BCT teams are partnering with the Pasco Yaqui tribe to provide a new BCT IBEST for NCCER core with integrated math skills. Also, there's a recruitment and launch for the first CDL IBEST program for English language learners with contextual language instruction while they work toward their CDL license. And there's some apprenticeships going on too that are notable. Caterpillar apprenticeship launched more than 30 applicants interested to be in one of the 5 apprenticeships hired. This was only open to current PCC welding, automotive, and AIT learners. And Raytheon Cyber Compliance registered apprenticeship launched with more than 30 applicants for 4 potential openings. And this is a first for Raytheon with any community college across the country. September 8th through 22nd is National Adult Education and Family Literacy Week, with an annual event aimed at raising awareness for the need and impact of adult education during National Workforce Development Month. Pima's ABEC division will be sharing data and stories via social media to raise awareness. Thank you. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Jim. A lot of great things happening at this college. It's really nice to be here. And for our first ever, the interim chancellor report from Dr. Dolores Duran-Cerda.
Thank you, Board Chair Rial. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the new academic fall year. It's very exciting. I'm very honored to be up here with all of you, with the board members and our representatives and everyone here in the room. I'd also like to welcome our guests who are watching virtually for joining us for this evening's governing board meeting. And I'd like to thank Board Member Gonzalez for coordinating the blessing that happened earlier today with Miguel Flores. It was very meaningful, and it brought the thought of community and of family, and that is what Pima Community College is. We are a community in of itself, and with our partners and with our community, our family in Tucson, in southern Arizona, really. So I hope you all had a restful summer, and I know faculty have already started teaching and are full steam ahead with the academic year. There are lots of things that we're going to be doing this year that I'm very excited about, and working with this board as well for thoughtful discussions and constructive dialogue and making decisions for the college and in my role as interim chancellor for the period that I will be here. I'd like to remind us to focus on our mission, which is empower every learner, every day for every goal. That is our focus as a college as we build our strong foundation. And you've heard many people tonight talk about the culture of caring, and I would like for us to continue with that approach and with that tone as we continue with the year. So at this moment, I'd like to recognize, and I think, Jim, you already did, our new administrators in acting positions. Since I'm here, Dr. Jeff Teese, acting provost, could you please stand? Yes, thank you, Jeff. And we also have Dr. Michael Parker. Could you please stand, who's our acting vice provost? And someone who's joining us virtually and who helped us present on the enrollment update, Dr. Suzanne Gistarden, who is our Vice President of Student Affairs. Last week, I had the privilege of going to Phoenix to accompany her and others from the Student Affairs team for her to receive the Dr. Alfredo G. de los Santos Jr. Community College Award, and that is all of the efforts that she's made as a Latina leader in higher education. So that was part of the Pete Garcia Victoria Foundation Award ceremony. So I'd like to congratulate Dr. Suzanne Desjardins. So since July 1st, I've been pretty busy. We started off with our Chancellor's Retreat. It was a 2-day retreat. The first day was for directors and above, where we did some team building exercises, as well as we had a presentation on AI for leaders. We talked about the culture of caring as well. And then several activities revolving around diversity, equity, inclusion, and being open to new perspectives. The second day of the Chancellor's Retreat was dedicated to ELT members, and we did a lot of activities there as well. We had presentations on first-generation students, Men of Color Initiative, Excelencia in Education. We started talking about the priorities of ELT and the interim chancellor's goals. We had a panel of students and the deans that oversee the centers of excellence. And it was wonderful to hear the different perspectives from the students and the impact that the centers of excellence have had on them. One of the questions, and thank you for Dr. Ian Rourke for facilitating that panel, but one of the questions that Dr. Rourke asked is, what would you not change about the centers of excellence and about Pima Community College? And every single student said the instructors and instruction. So thank you to the instructors, to faculty for the wonderful and quality education that you're providing for our students. Also, I was able to visit and provide some welcoming remarks to the Teaching Strategies Workshop and the Faculty Learning Academy. It's always a busy time at the end of the semester as we ramp up for the academic year, as well as All College Day. I had a blast. It was just so wonderful to see everybody back together, and just the keynote speaker was amazing, Frederick Shegag, who had a difficult upbringing and got involved in alcohol and drug addiction, was homeless, but he transformed himself, and it was through community college instructors and staff that helped him guide out of that and into, so he could graduate with high honors and be a motivational speaker. So I think he set an excellent tone as well. We had the Pima Inspiration Awards at All College Day. We celebrated service of employees that have served 10, 20, 30, and 40 years, which is incredible. So that was the morning program. In the afternoon, we dedicated it to accreditation and HLC workshops to refresh everybody what it is that we need to be preparing for our assurance arguments. So thank you for participating in those. And of course, we had our division and DFC, the division faculty committee meetings and faculty senate. But I really would like to take this moment to thank those who coordinated All College Day. And Phil Burdick, your team was incredible, it was amazing. Christy Camargo and Chris Mayer with college events, PCC TV, Paul Schwalbeck and your team, Media Productions, thank you so much, because without you, this wouldn't have happened. This would not have been possible. I know it's a lot of time and details and logistical pieces, but it was an incredible day and inspiring. This week is actually, Hispanic Serving Institution Week. And it's also on the 15th, in 2 days, we're going to be starting the National Hispanic Month. Dr. Brian Stewart sent out an email to everyone about the different activities that are taking place across the college celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And we'll be doing that with all the months celebrating various cultures, ethnicities, and groups to celebrate their contributions to this country. So we're very excited about that. And part of this week, I participated, and several of us did actually from Pima, maybe about 15 of us or so, went to the University of Arizona for the Arizona HSI Consortium. summit. And it was well attended throughout the state. We have many HSI institutions. Those are Hispanic serving institutions. And Dr. Francisca James Hernandez, who spoke at public comment, talked about Gina Garcia, who's written this book, and we all got a free copy at the summit of the book. And also the focus on serving, not only enrolling Hispanic students, but serving. What does that mean? What do we need to do to have our students complete their education? And whatever we do with a specific group, it really helps all students in the end. So we're very pleased with the partnership that we have with the University of Arizona, NAU, ASU, and all the different community colleges who are in this consortium as part of the Arizona HSI consortium. In addition to that, I've been participating in several meetings and meeting very many people in the community. So one of the first things as I started was meeting the governor. Governor Hobbs came to visit and did a tour of the Automotive Center and the Advanced Manufacturing Building. She announced about the $2 million that Pima College would receive due to operations. So that was very exciting. I participated in the NC3 annual leadership summit in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Several Pima folks were there, and former Chancellor Lee Lambert was there as well. I participated, and many of us here in the board also did, the city of Tucson, where the mayor announced a $50 million Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant that's partnering with Thrive in the 05. So that was held at on August 2nd at the Azurite Room at the Advanced Manufacturing Building. The Tucson Hispanic Chamber hosted a congressional update with Congressman Raul Grijalva and Congressman Juan Ciscomani at Pima's Aviation Center. Many of you were there. It was very well attended, and it was an excellent, really productive dialogue, even though they may not see eye to eye with certain things in policy, but they have a common goal of serving our communities, and so it was very nice to have experienced that. In Flagstaff, I went to the AC4 ACCT Legislative Retreat, and Board Chair Real was part of that as well. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was in Washington, D.C., representing Pima College, where I spoke about advanced organized labor and community college partnerships, but focusing on Pima Community College. There were other community college leaders there, and there were representatives from the National Council of Economic Development and Domestic Policy, and they wanted to see what community colleges are doing across the country as far as helping our our learners in general. There was a focus more on high schools, but I brought in all the work that we're doing with our adult learners, such as Fast Track and iBest, and they were very pleased to hear about that. They said that cabinet members will be visiting various institutions across the country, and I have a feeling they're going to come to Pima College to visit as well. Other meetings that I've participated in is Sun Corridor, also SALC meeting, who hosted Congressman Juan Ciscomani. So many things. And I'm very pleased and honored to be a part of this role as interim chancellor. I'd like to end with paying tribute to two people. And they both passed on. The first one is the passing of fashion design faculty member Georgianne Fimbres. Many of you may have known her. That's Coach Milky, but here we go. There she is. So Georgianne was, I think, in 1971, she was one of the earliest faculty members at Pima Community College. And maybe some of you knew of Via Feliz Flowers. Her husband owned that business. And she just was a strong supporter of the fashion design department and teaching for about 40 years with the college. So we will miss her, and she's left a wonderful legacy. The other person I'd like to highlight and pay tribute to is Coach Jim Milky, and Richard Hernandez has already spoken, and Coach Monaco too. But for almost 60 years, Coach Milky coached cross-country runners at Sunnyside Junior High, Sunnyside High School, and at Pima Community College. For the Sunnyside boys cross-country team, he took them to the state championship in 1975. And for Pima College, he took the men's cross-country team to the 1980 national championships. But even after he retired, he was an advocate for students, especially students of color and students with of low economic resources, and was a strong advocate for students to come to Pima Community College to get an education, higher education. We are planning a memorial service on November 12th at 5:30 at the West Campus, and I'm looking into how we can plant a tree at the West Campus by the track field in his honor with a plaque, and so you'll have more details about that. And I spoke to him on the phone. We had a meeting, and he had fallen, couldn't join us, so we spoke to him on the phone. It was a couple of weeks ago, so it's very shocking that he's passed away, but even then, he was a strong advocate of let's help our students at Pima College. And so Milke is spelled M-I-E-L-K-E. And in my bilingual mind, I'm thinking of miel. Okay. Those of you who speak Spanish, miel means what? Honey. And so for me, he was a sweet man, very kind and tender with students, and I will always remember him as Miel. So thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Dolores. Item number 3 is information items. There are 3 financial reports for May, June, and July. If you are interested in looking at that, we won't be discussing them. There is a fiscal year fourth quarter update on the capital project plan. There's employment information, hirings, and quitting working at the college. Adjunct faculty hiring, we have a lot of new adjunct faculty. That's always so exciting to see all of the new people coming into the college to bring new ideas and new energy. Many new faculty hiring, and then the last report on that list of information items is the Energy Savings Performance Program status update. Say that fast 5 times. So please take time when you can and look through those and contact the board or Dolores if you have questions. Okay, actually, does the board have any comments on those information items? Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to pass the consent agenda?
I move to pass the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Greg Taylor. And a second by Wade McLean. Any discussion? Maria Garcia? Let me see. I'm just trying to make sure. 4.15. Okay, the McKinstry third-party commissioning.
Can I make can we have a discussion on that?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, I would like to make an amendment to pull item 4.15. I just don't feel that I have enough information, and I need more information on it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do we need a motion? I mean, do we need a vote on this? Thank you, Jeff.
Okay, so just quick thoughts about consent agenda. So normally consent agenda, no discussion, it's just move second, up or down. typically at the beginning of the item, if there is one or more items that a board member would like to be pulled, the way our bylaws are set up, it's really a courtesy to any board member. If any board member would like an item pulled, we don't need to have an amendment or a motion. It's just pulled. We'll move it, excuse me, move it to the next section of the agenda, the action items, and then the board can have a discussion about that item. And you can do that at any, you can insert it into any point in the action item section. So you can do it at the beginning, the end, whatever is most convenient. Does that maybe help a bit? So if Ms. Garcia has an item she wants pulled, normally we would just say fine, then we're going to move the consent agenda except for that item, have the vote, and then at some point during the action item, the board chair can call for that item, and then we can have a discussion. The board can have a discussion.
Madam Chair, I remove my second.
And Greg, can we just do a friendly little thing? Think that Maria said it first, and we're going to pass everything except for that?
I have no problem with that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so I have a first to move that we pass a consent agenda except for item 4.15, and a second from Dr. McLean. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
I was aye as well.
Aye. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the action items. We'll just take that one first, 4.15. Do I have a motion?
Okay.
Well, don't we have
So-
to have a motion first?
Are they able to discuss before a motion?
Moves there we go. But I'll stand back. So the standard practice is a board member moves an item, there's a second, and then the board has discussion. Amendments if someone thinks appropriate or not. Conclusion of discussion, vote.
So do I have a motion to pass the contract for McKinstry for the third-party commissioning?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion, Maria.
Okay. So on item 4.15, okay, I believe, or my opinion is that we should, before we pass this item, that we should be aware of what the terms of the train contract are. Because in approving this particular item, okay, how they're going to measure our energy savings, you know, it's, if I understand, I'm trying to remember exactly what we were doing with that. I believe it's like a 20-year item, and how are they going to measure it? We're approving a contract item here for them to come in and do an analysis and making sure the train is doing what they said they were going to do. But how can you vote for something that when you're not really aware of what those requirements are? You know, and then the other part of it is, as I read, I try to briefly go through a lot of the prior stuff that I knew about the train implementation. Okay, are we getting money back for the items that are already in place? Was the contract originally made so that all the equipment was going to be replaced or partial equipment? Not only, I believe that in the original ones that we were looking at, lighting, LED, I mean, we're going to pay a company to change our lighting when our facilities people can do that? And they're going to measure that? I need some information. I just need more information.
So, Maria, the funny thing is when we met last week with the chancellor and the council to talk about this, I had some concerns about this also. And I was told that the reason that this is on our agenda today is because last year it was decided by the prior board that there were some people that were concerned about train, and so it was sort of like a negotiation, and the board agreed last year to have this company or some company come in and do this sort of like checking and certifying and making sure everything is working well. to ascertain that what was supposed to happen did happen. So anyway, I sort of thought, oh, okay, maybe that makes sense. And then I asked a bunch of people. I have some family members who work in HVAC, and I have some other friends who are in this kind of, and I was told that this is an industry standard, that this happens regularly to protect the purchaser, which is us. And it's gonna, all of the things that you talked about were in another document, and they it's hard to say this, did train our employees to know how to use the software and the programs and all of that. And I do believe, just my brief reading, that it is our employees that did that first phase of replacing all of the light bulbs to LED from the non-LED light bulbs. So basically what this is, it's not to really talk about what Trane will or won't do, did or hasn't done, but it's to hire this firm to work on our behalf to make sure what we contracted with Trane is actually what happened. And so according to quite a few people that I asked, no one said it was not done. Everybody said it was a generally accepted practice.
Okay, I understand that it's a generally accepted practice, and it is a good thing to do that. But again, my concern is we're approving a contract to do a verification when in fact we don't really know what those parameters are. What is it that they're going to be checking specifically? And how many years is it going to be? Is it going to be 1 year? Is it going to be 10 years? Is it going to be 20? And not only that, but I asked the question about set points.
So all of that is okay, but it's not about this contract, right? This contract, all this contract is doing is going to verify and ascertain that what Trane installed and what they said they were going to do per the contract is what they did. So I think what we can do, though, is if you're interested in that, at another meeting, we can do a study session. We can ask Brandy, I'm sure, would be comfortable coming and answering all of those questions so we know exactly, because I think it's important to understand that. Okay.
I'm done.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's everything you're looking for, but that Energy Savings Performance Program status update document has a lot of things in it in terms of what Trane is doing.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving this contract for McKinstry, a third-party commissioning of the Trane installation, please say aye.
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 Anybody? Luis, did you say aye?
I say aye, yes.
Thank you. Any opposed? No, we all voted unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving to section, action item 5.1, consideration of the Chancellor's goals and college priorities for 2023-2024. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. McLean. Any discussion?
I think just so the public is aware, we have been meeting with the interim chancellor over time, and we have beat this to death. And we have solidified the goals, we have articulated the goals, we have included criteria for the goals, and this evening she agreed she can meet the goals. And so I think this is a good roadmap for the future of the college and the leadership in the college, and I think it's a well-done document that will bring your leadership to a point where we can actually evaluate it. So I'm a vote yes on this.
Okay, so we've started the voting. If there's no more discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Section 5.2, the consideration of the board self-assessment that you are all sent. So this was just a recapping of our self-assessment that was given to us, and it's written, instead of a 27-page document, it's down to 2 pages. Is there a motion to accept that self-summary assessment?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes any nays? Motion passes unanimously. Section 5.3, consideration of the governing board priorities for the school year 2023-2024. Is there a motion to approve these priorities?
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Maria Garcia and seconded by Greg Taylor to approve the governing board priorities for 2023-2024. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I saw everybody say aye and heard it, so I'm not going to ask for the nays. It passes unanimously. Section 5.4, the Association of Community College Trustees, ACCT, Leadership Congress voting delegates. We are able to send 2 people to vote when we go to the conference in October. And so we need 2 people who will be there and agree to attending those meetings and vote on PCC's behalf. Would anybody like to nominate themselves?
I'll nominate myself as one of them.
Okay. You can. Okay. So, so is there a motion to approve Greg Taylor and Maria Garcia to be our 2 voting delegates at the ACCT conference in October?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Dr. Wade McLean, seconded by Luis Gonzalez to accept Maria Garcia and Greg Taylor as our 2 voting delegates at the ACCT Leadership Conference in October. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And lastly, item 5.5, discussion and possible direction regarding the development of options for the hotel properties located at the PCC downtown campus, including possible formation of an advisory committee.
So I have a motion for this one, although it's a little bit lengthy, so bear with me because there's a lot of pieces of it.
So speak slowly, since.
Yeah, so I can like send it to you in writing, so don't feel like you have to write down every aspect of it. But so that a more fully informed decision can be made about the future of the hotel properties along Drockman Street by the downtown campus, I move that the governing board direct the interim chancellor to develop a plan to use the hotel properties to benefit Pima College students by leveraging a work group to look at the following: specific uses for the existing buildings if they were to be renovated for adaptive reuse, the extent to which the college can obtain external funding to pay for the cost of the adaptive reuse of those existing buildings beyond the college contribution of $10 million, recommended uses for the properties if the existing buildings were not preserved through adaptive reuse that maintains the historic signage at a minimum, and the extent to which the college can obtain external funding to pay for uses of the properties other than adaptive reuse for the existing buildings beyond the college contribution of $10 million. So in preparing this plan, the chancellor shall form and consult with a work group that includes invitations to participate extended to the city of Tucson, Pima County, Thrive in the 05, the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation, the neighborhood associations that provided comment at the May 22nd, 2023 study session, and the Pima College Foundation, as well as representatives of Pima College students and faculty. Once the plan is developed, the This motion would delegate authority to the interim chancellor to proceed with the adaptive reuse or other repurposing, including the potential demolition of the hotel properties at her discretion, keeping in mind the final use must be designed to benefit Pima College students while staying with the financial parameters outlined. The board should be informed within 1 year of today of the final decision regarding the properties. And I can explain this more once we get past the motion stage.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Any discussion?
Are you, in this motion, are you recommending that we encumber the $10 million?
That the college's contribution wouldn't exceed the 10 million that was committed towards those, the potential reuse of those, but whether that money goes towards the demolition or an adaptive reuse, that our contribution would not exceed $10 million is how it's written.
So you're asking me to vote to spend $10 million on this property?
At the most, for whatever the ultimate use would be.
Well, right now, the college is encumbered $10 million, which we can't use for anything. So if you would remove the $10 million from the motion, I can support it, but I can't support it if I have to encumber $10 million to be spent on something I don't know what we're going to spend it on. And if we do remove the $10 million, we could spend that on student learning now or in the future, and while we make these decisions.
So in that scenario then is the direction that the college wouldn't contribute anything additional and it would all have to be external? Is that, am I understanding you right or no?
That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say we're not going to encumber the 10 million. If the plan comes back and there's a recommendation to spend money on it, I think we make the decision on spending the money on it when we can put it in the budget at a future time, and then we vote on it. But to encumber the $10 million down, I'm not prepared to do that.
Then I have another issue with this. I believe that depending on who this committee is going to be composed of, you know, one of the HLC requirements is undue influences. So who's going to be part of this? You know, my recommendation, and I've said this before, is if somebody wants to come and buy the hotels and move them, so be it. I don't think it should be put on the college. I can agree to have a committee to look at it, but then again, I need to know specifically who are those people going to be. And anybody that comes in and puts money into that section, whether it be the city or the county or some other person, you know, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on this.
So part of what I'm trying to do, and this is absolutely flexible, so you know, I'm happy to accept friendly changes to what we're doing here. You know, I've struggled with this, and I've had a lot of conversations with some of our partners. I mean, it's very clear to me that our partners have understood that we made a commitment to do something with these properties. They may have misunderstood that, but their understanding is that we made a commitment. Now, to be fair to us, I can't find I don't think that board vote exists that actually committed us to do that, but somehow that got communicated, not just to one partner, but multiple partners, that we were, you know, all in on this adaptive reuse. I don't know how that happened. But the city, the county, a lot of those neighborhoods have made plans and applied for grant funding that, you know, we heard about during the public comment. And in those applications, they talked about this thing that we're doing. And so what I'm trying to do, at least in spirit, and maybe there's a better way to do it than what I proposed, is give those groups a path forward to work collaboratively with us to identify other funding sources or whatever that might be that doesn't go beyond what I understood. That's where the $10 million came from those initial discussions, that I understood what that initial board vote was going towards. We don't have to do that, but I'm trying to give them a collaborative path forward so that we can figure this out and can use these properties in a way that benefits our students, but also honors the commitment that they understood, whether it was actually formally made or not, so that we can maintain good relations with those partners and with the neighborhoods who, came in mass and certainly sent me emails in mass saying that that's what they wanted us to do. So I'm trying to chart a middle path here. I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that, but that's what I'm hoping to do. But I'm open to suggestions about different ways we can do that.
I was just going to say, if you don't mind, when I was out in the front of the building today, when we were getting ready for the blessing, I was talking with Ken Scoville, and I just mentioned to him that I was thinking that we were going to move to make a committee or something. And I said, personally, for me, I would like to see that committee, looks into grants and looks into finding funds so we don't have to use taxpayer dollars to do renovation of hotels. And if they can find the funding and we could make it work, I think that would be a great thing to do. But I think to say that we're going to use, $10 million of taxpayers' money to do something like renovate hotels, I think that there are going to be people that are going to be upset about that also. So maybe if you would take a friendly motion to say, to include, don't cross off the amount of money, but then say that one of the other charges of the committee is to find outside funding that would be in a quantity enough to do the things that they are trying, because if they make a plan to do something with the buildings but there isn't the money there, it's really not a plan, it's just a wish, right? So if I could make that friendly.
Absolutely. So I can take the 10 million out, and there's a couple references in here to the external funding. And so that is exactly what I was envisioning a large part of that work group or that committee's charge would be and we heard a little, I don't know, I'm not an expert on where that external funding is, but Ken in his comments earlier was talking about how there's lots of dollars available, although he did say they were matching dollars. And so I don't know the details of it, but I would love for this group, again, that we could work collaboratively with them to figure that out and figure out what those funding options are. And I agree to minimally encumber us in terms of what we would use our capital dollars for. And the only reason that 10 million was in there is that was kind of the number that was brandied about earlier on that seemed to be understood what the commitment was, but I can take it out for sure.
One of the things that I like to state is that we as a board are responsible, and our mission is to serve the students. And if whatever happens with those buildings, if it's not to promote and serve the students, then it's not a deal. It's not a deal. You talk about outside funding sources, but again, I believe that this would be considered a violation of the HLC's, one of the criteria that says of undue influence. And here's a committee group, other people have decided that they want to build around and improve the Drive 05 and all that, but that's not our mission. So anyway, I'm willing to listen to whatever it is or do a plan, but no money. Let's have a study session on it. I don't know, but I honestly don't think that it's doable.
Thank you, Maria. Luis Gonzalez.
I just want to say that I know that we've been going around this over and over. I don't know who the funders are, or you mentioned, or the commitment that was done. I do know that we toured the facilities. It's not a good site. I have said before, I think it's more cost effective, cost efficient. Reference, if we want to do a new construction, let's do new construction. But also we need to keep in mind that the funding can help a lot of students out there, which are our true stakeholders that we need. The other thing that I would just want to say is that in coming in the Thrive 05 or the property side, I don't think it is cost efficient or cost effective to our stakeholders at this time. Because I think it's, I believe one of the numbers that was put out with one in reference to renovations, it's not going to be $10 million. It's going to be 30 or even double that. But right now, two things I'm going to share again. I'm glad that this came about. One thing is right now the college has a lot of space. Referencing, we're not capitalizing or utilizing the space capacity. Second, I'm glad that we hear that where the enrollment is coming up, but the enrollment is still down. It has been down for the last 12, 13 years. But I think those are two areas that the community and the public sector needs to know. I think with like I mentioned, the space capacity, it's not that we have more than enough, and we've heard this in the last 4 years. But coming back to those properties, I don't think it's cost efficient or cost effective or fair for the stakeholders at this point. Without a plan, a true plan, like I mentioned, I don't know, Mr. Taylor, with whoever is your partners, I haven't seen nothing in reference to black and white, so I have no idea. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to change my informal amendment to be formal, and I would like to say, can we strike any mention of a specific amount of money that the college will put forward? 2, can we say in there specifically that it's the charge of the committee when they're deciding, when they're making plans, right? And to come with us, hopefully with more than one option, right? But their plans need to have funding sources to do, if it is a renovation or a repurposing of the hotels, they need to know where those funds are going to come from. And the third thing is that it has to be student focused. It has to be student centered.
I think I got all that as I was revising. So let me restate it. I know it's long, but I'll restate it with like editorial comments to highlight where all of those are. And if you want me to revise more, I can. So the restated motion would be so that a more fully informed decision can be made about the future of the hotel properties along Drockman Street by the downtown campus. I move that the governing board direct the interim chancellor to develop a plan to use the hotel properties to benefit Pima College students, so it has to be to benefit students, by leveraging a work group to look at 4 things. So the first one, potential one, is specific uses for the existing buildings if they were renovated for adaptive reuse. The second one is the extent to which the college can obtain external funding to pay for the cost of adaptive reuse, so that's one external funding possibility. Then the third piece, recommended uses for the properties if the existing buildings were not preserved through adaptive reuse that maintains the historic signage at a minimum, because that's one of the things we heard a lot about in those things. And the fourth one, which again is about external funding, the extent to which the college can obtain external funding to pay for the uses of the properties other than adaptive reuse of the existing buildings. So that would be any scenario, other scenario, including potentially just something completely different and tearing them down. So in preparing this plan, the chancellor shall form and consult with a work group that includes invitations to participate extended to, and this to your thing about who would be on that group, so extended to the City of Tucson, Pima County, Thrive in the O5, the Tucson Historic Preservation Foundation, the neighborhood associations that provided comment at the May 22nd, 2023 study session, the Pima College Foundation, as well as representatives of Pima College students and faculty who can help keep it on track in terms of making sure it's student focused. And then once that plan is developed, we delegate authority to the interim chancellor to proceed with the adaptive reuse or other repurposing, including potential demolition of the hotel properties at her discretion, keeping in mind the final use must be designed to benefit Pima College students. And then this is another revision. So the board should be informed within 1 year of today of the final decision regarding the properties. And if any Pima College funds are needed, the board must approve that expenditure at a future date. So it's not committing any dollars.
And I would ask that it not be a year. My recommendation is that it be less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months? Or
Less
6
than
months?
6 months.
If I changed 1 year to no later than 6 months from today, would that? Yeah.
Then the other item would be, let me see, I had it in my mind. Okay, so, but you're still referring, the historical foundation, the Thrive 05, that's all within that designated area. But what about the rest of Pima County? How do you think the taxpayer feels about that? We're not including them in this.
It's not limited to that. I mean, we talked about Pima College students and faculty. We talked about inviting Pima County. They represent the whole county. We talked about inviting representative of the city of Tucson. They would, we can add more to here if you want more in there, but I'm not sure I understand. I don't think this excludes anyone.
So we're sort of on the discussion area, right? And it's because you have your motion and then you change it. So you have my second to all of that.
Yes.
So now we're in the discussion area, and here's what I understand where you're coming from, Maria, but here's the thing. We want people who are interested in making that the best place for our students, no matter what it is, right? So, I mean, sure, we can have people who maybe don't want to do anything. Let's just let it be desert, right? There may be people like that want to be on the committee, but it would be preferable that we have really, really dedicated people that want to just make it the best for the students. And that could be a brand new building. It could be renovating the only two front foremost units on each of the, so it keeps the street looking like it used to. It could be just our wildest imaginations, and we want people on that committee that are interested in putting the time and the energy and effort so they can make the greatest plan that we can get for the students and for the college. And the fact that we're asking them to find funding sources, if it is that they want to refurbish those buildings in any way, I think that is going to keep the taxpayers who are concerned about using taxpayer dollars. We won't have that as a problem. Dr. McLean?
So does your 4 options preclude selling it?
It wouldn't, I guess it wouldn't, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, it wouldn't necessarily exclude moving it because it does say obtain external funding for uses other than adaptive reuse, so that could be moving them, I suppose. It doesn't explicitly say selling it. I could incorporate that in some way. I don't know, I don't read this, I'm not intending to exclude that option. I'm just trying to think if the language unintentionally excludes that option, but I can certainly change it so that it doesn't.
Comment.
I just want to make sure that when we come back to this issue, that we say, hey, we agreed on 4 options and selling it is not an option. Because we could end up selling it to the city, the county, archaeological people, somebody.
I suppose that, in my opinion, in reading this, when it says to the extent to which the college can obtain external funding to pay for uses of the properties other than adaptive reuse, selling it to me is an option other than adaptive reuse. So I think that would be included in there, but I can make that really explicit if you want to.
Well, I would think, if I could interrupt just for a moment, the whole purpose of buying those properties was to increase the downtown campus footprint. So it'll undo, which is okay if the committee decides that that's the important thing, but it will undo the original intent of purchasing those properties.
It's okay with me. I think if we're going to form a committee to do the research, we give them all the flexibility that we can possibly give them.
Okay, another comment that I wanted to make. Okay, originally when those properties were bought, okay, and I have the document from the realtor, they were supposed to be demolished. Now, then the plan changed, but the whole intent was to keep the footprint of that area. So selling the buildings to somebody else would not be appropriate unless they moved them. That would be the only way you could sell them, that they pick them up and move them somewhere else. But we need to keep that property.
I don't think you're right. I think if we sell it, we can sell it. I mean, that's our decision.
And that's the thing, too. It will be our ultimate decision. Is that right, Greg, or is it going to be the chancellor's decision?
I mean, I could write it so that if sale is the decision that we have to approve it. I mean, I think that I can add another sentence at the bottom here just to make that clear. Because I off the top of my head, I don't know that, I mean, I want to listen to what the committee wants to do. I mean, I would not say that's not my first choice, is not to sell those properties, but I'm willing to listen and be educated about why that might be the best option. But I have this phrase in here about, the board must approve, what is it? If any Pima College funds are needed, the board must approve that expenditure at a future date. I could add, the board must also approve any decision to sell the property.
If you do that, you have my vote.
Thank you, everybody, for being patient with us.
And Andrea's really looking puzzled.
I promise I'm writing it down and I will send it to you. And thank you. I mean, this is not easy, I think, for any of us. And I've tried to rack my brain about how do we kind of craft a collaborative middle path between, us trying to look out. And I agree that the main focus needs to be our students, but also how are we a forthright partner with all of these entities that we have to work with in the city and the county in which we live, and honor. Again, even if it was misunderstood, honor what they understood to be this commitment so that we can hopefully forge a middle ground or the best solution that we can. All right, do I need to read it again, or does everyone feel good about where we are?
I think we're good. Okay, hearing no more discussion. All in favor of approving Greg's motion?
So moved.
Say aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, 4 votes approve and 1 vote against. Motion passes.
Thank you for trying, Greg.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic, but we'll see.
Item number 6, request for future agenda items.
I would like to have a special board meeting, if everybody's willing to do that, to discuss the college legal model.
College what model?
College legal model?
Okay.
Is that
Legal counsel for the board and for the college.
Sure.
Okay, any other items for future agendas? We do have a meeting Monday, so we'll be back doing more of this on Monday. You're all invited. Okay.
What? You want a whole board meeting to talk about that?
No.
Study session? Study session.
Okay, I'm adjourning the meeting. Thank you very much for attending.